Down by the creek where the water shine, the real sing sweet and
yes, the Oil Creek Classic song here for Mr. Al Rickerson, who joins us this morning. Hi, Al. How's it going?
Hey, pretty good. How you doing, Luke?
Good to see you this morning.
Yes.
Hard to believe it's here already, the Oil Creek Classic.
Not hard for me because I've been working on it.
So it's usually, around the second weekend in May?
Second weekend in May.
Okay, so when do you really start the laying down the plans for the next year? So did you start like the day after last year's event, kind of keeping track of?
Well, you know what? It's interesting because I give myself some rest. But I would say around July to August, I look at my notes, from the last one and start incorporating some things, wanting to do some things, and feeling out some new ideas. But yeah.
So for those who might not be familiar with the Oil Creek Classic, tell us the start of this. Give us the history. How did it begin?
Well, back when I was the president of Rotary that year, we were trying to bandy some ideas around about a new fundraiser. So I had went down to Philadelphia to an AAU game, and I met a guy who ran a fly fishing tournament around Lancaster. And so we talked a bit because we were in Orvis, and we talked a bit, and he told me about it, and I was like, oh, okay. And, sometimes you meet people and they do interesting things, to go out your mind, and, you just keep going. But that stuck to me. I said, wait a minute, we got Oil Creek up there. I said, that's a famous waterway. And after, and Armand and I had gone the year before to fly fishing school up in by Bradford, University of Pittsburgh campus at Bradford. So I started thinking about it. And on the way back home, about halfway before we got back here, I said, we're going to do this. So, of course, you do your research, and I found a site for the for gentlemen out there in Vail, Colorado, for the World Fly Fishing Championships, named of John Knight. And I called him up, and I said, hey, called him up, introduced myself, and then I just started from there. Our first year, we started with four anglers, and everything like that. I was just happy just to get off the ground. And then it's been going ever since in different iterations.
So what I love about this story is you bringing this idea back and making it your own, and how it benefits the Rotary Club. But the other part of this story I absolutely love. It's also a story about a father and son bonding over something and taking that passion and putting it into this project as well. Did you start fly fishing on your own, or was it something you said, hey, I want to bring my son in and this is something we're going to do together?
Oh, no, this is 100%. A lot of times when you have kids, as you know, you have to be interested in some of the things they're interested in. And my son, for all of his energy and everything else, he loved to fish. And a lot of times on Erie, we go up to Erie, do our shopping and stuff. He would go down by the banks and fish. And one day he told me, he says, Dad, I want to learn how to fly fish. And I went down and I looked at him going across the water and stuff. And for my birthday present that year, my wife had booked us a Orvis, a fly fishing school that was done up in Kinswood Dam. So I went up there and I learned how to cast and all that kind of stuff. And taught by Joe Humphreys, who's the Yoda of fly fishing.
Wow.
So I got into it because of Armand. And
so this was your son that got you involved in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Now, you said that we were bonding. Have you met my son? Everything's a contest to him.
Yeah.
We go out there like, how many fish you catch? And then as soon as I'm getting the fish in the net, it'll get off the net, get off the hook. That doesn't count. Why not? Because it wasn't in the net. And I didn't hold it up, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, a little competitive, but that's
very
fun.
Much so.
We're going to learn about Oil Creek Classic, what's going to happen that weekend, and then I want to ask you why it's such a beautiful sport and what you get out of it. But we'll wait to save that for the end part.
Okay.
Talk about the tournament itself. How is it going to run this year? What's involved? When does it start? Tell us everything.
Okay. Well, for the last 10 years, we've been given a a fly fishing tournament. And in this most modern iteration now, what's happening is that we have it for 2 days. First day, late registration, meet the people. We give them their beat, and a beat is like your area where you go to at first, so you can fish there. And we have a welcome dinner, and then the next day, of course, we have the contest. This year has changed. Now, the gentleman I mentioned that I got the idea from World Fly Fishing Championship that was done out in Vail, Colorado years ago, his name is John Knight. And when I called him up, I introduced myself, and it was kind of funny because I said, like, hey, my name's Al Rickerson from Titusville, Pennsylvania, and don't call the police. He says, what? Because you think you're getting a crank call. I said, don't call the police because I'm stealing all your ideas. He started laughing. And this guy, he was a organizer and fundraiser on an international scale. So we've been friends ever since. Well, as you mentioned, when do I start thinking about it? In August, he and I were talking, catching up, because he just came back from the World Bass Fishing Championships in Italy.
Wow!
And he sent me like a trove of pictures. And he said, "You know what? I think I'm gonna be your. I said, I want to be your first keynote speaker." At first, I didn't. He's like, "Oh yeah, right." But when we talked in September, I said, "This guy's serious." So I blew up my whole motto, and that's to say is this: is that, as of course, over the years we incorporated Community Day, we incorporated a half price, buy one get one free price at the museum, and the free train ride, the chartered train ride, and everything like that. So I said, this year I'm going to have to really and truly do some other things that are different. So him coming as a keynote speaker, I invited all the people who are politically, all the political people in office, all the conservationists, all the people who are interested in doing ecotourism in Titusville, to hear him, because he has done this many, many times not only across the United States, but across the world.
Wow.
And I know, and I've learned through the years that we have a very special region here, is that we have one of the top 5 trout streams in Pennsylvania. And we also in the talks for the top streams in the United States as far as trout streams are concerned. So, and this is done by fish masters, by many blogs, many different independent types who have rated us. And so I said, we have to take advantage of this. But also too, and this is going to come into focus this year, is that we have a lake within driving distance of 20 minutes that if you had that lake in Europe, a world championship would be staged on that lake, and that's the Lake Justice at 2 Mile Run. Wow. So years ago when we used to have the youth angler team from the USA youth fly fishing team, we used to give 2-day events, because half the day will be one day will be spent on the stream and the other half on the lake. Because when you go to Europe, not only are you in the stream fly fishing, but you go on the lake as well. And that got them ready for that, because it's almost like when you go over to Europe, you have a hand tied behind your back, because they're really not used to doing that. So that's some of the things that that John's going to bring out, talk about, show us as a community maybe how we can take more advantage of that, and also to bring more people up here. I mean, a lot of people come up here anyway to fish from Erie, Pittsburgh. I mean, many years ago, I met a gentleman that was from England down there. So, but to do it in an organized fashion where the whole business community and the community itself can benefit, that's another step.
Well, let's do this real quick. You're watching The Morning Drill on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Al Rickerson with us here this morning. The Oil Creek Classic coming up Mother's Day weekend. Al, the other component, and I know this is very important to you, is the hospitality side of hosting an event. Obviously, this is for the Rotary Club. Mm-hmm. There are expectations as a Rotarian for a lot of things, right?
Oh, sure.
So, again, this is an event that you want to make sure that Rotary's represented well, the community's represented well, the volunteers are represented well. How important is the hospitality side when it comes to putting on this event?
It's very important because one thing you want to do, you want to have retain, you want people to come back. You want people, when they talk about you, say, hey, you know what, I went to that Oil Creek Classic or Titusville, Pennsylvania, and not only did we catch fish, but we met some good people, and we had a great time. So we always had, as far as hospitality, we always had, like, meals for them. We always had, like, controllers, people from around the area that were very good when it comes to navigating the waters, where the fish were, things like that. And we've been very friendly. And also, too, we have some nice parting gifts that's from this region. One of the donors that have been with me, is sponsored, been with me since day one, is Great Eastern Cutlery. You know, we had a complimentary knife that we used to give folks, and in recent years he has Oil Creek Classic right on there. And if people don't know, Great Eastern Cutlery is world renowned for their for making knives. So that was very important to me, you know, the hospitality, representing well, and that has grown, because people have gone from this region and they have talked well about us, and that's one of the reasons why John said, hey, I want to be a keynote speaker, because he's heard good things about us.
Wow. Well, and the other thing with the knives, too, I mean, you're right, people collect their knives all over the world.
Yes.
These are special knives for these events. So
Yes.
if you're like somebody that is a collector, this is the only place you're going to be able to get these knives.
Right, absolutely.
So it's pretty special. Again, you also have some great community partners. You mentioned them. Oil Creek Plastics, a big
Oil
supporter.
Creek Plastics is one. CJ Curvan has been one of my early sponsors. One year he even fished in it, and that's where he really got him hooked.
So to speak.
So to speak.
Man, it looks absolutely fun. Now, Al, the event's next weekend, Mother's Day weekend. Is it too late to participate in this, or how would somebody get involved? And there's, I think, a community
usually,
aspect too, right?
Right. Well, I didn't mean to cut you off, but usually we like to have everybody registered by now, because we've ordered their T-shirts. We have all the sponsors on the T-shirts and things of that nature. But, you know, I've been known to take a late registrant or two, especially if they're youth, because that's another important part of it, is because, you know, we always encourage youth to be in the contest, because we have experienced people on the waters that can, you know, maybe correct them and teach them some things. And over the years, as a matter of fact, a couple of my former youth participants, they're now guides. They're now, you know, fishing guides and work out of Alaska.
Wow, that's incredible. And there's, if you go to the website, which is occ.titusvilleparotary.org,
Right.
you can get more information. You can register through there.
Yes, you can.
And there's also, like,
you can register and pay through there.
And there's rules, so you can see the official tournament rules of the Classic.
Yes.
Which lays out how the tournament runs, equipment that can be used.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And again, you just kind of scroll through, and it shows the flies, how things are scored. What's the feedback you get every year? Because it is very positive, isn't it?
It's very positive, but, you know, a lot of times, you know, I used to give out surveys at the awards dinner, and one year a guy said, "Oh, Al, what am I going to say? You brought us up here, got us into a tournament, gave us some gifts, fed us. Oh, more, I can't stand the Oil Creek Classic. I'm not writing that." And so I have a different way of doing it. And over the years, through the suggestions of the people who has participated here, I've gotten some very, very good feedback, and it made me change, because it's I look at it as their tournament, okay, because they're here to enjoy themselves and fish, and some of the ideas that I've gotten over the years have been gold plated. So, you know, you just have to know how to do it. You just can't be you just can't just give out surveys and stuff like that, and I've learned from that. You just have to give them in conversation, write your stuff down when you can, or put it in your phone, and just remember it, just keep it and try to implement it the next year.
So there's other sort of partners in all of this. Drakewell Museum helps out. They've got their pavilions. The OC&T Railroad.
Yes, OCT and Railroad. Years ago, about maybe 4 or 5 years ago when Rotary Club was celebrating our 100th anniversary as a chapter here in Titusville. That year, we decided to do something a little bit different. We decided to charter the train and a free train ride for people to go on the train and just enjoy the day, and on us. Well, as life would have it, one of my donor's wives and her granddaughter was on the train, and she said, this was great. You need to do this every year. And I got a lot of feedback like, you need to really do this. So it's become part of us to do that. And because it's right there on the Drakewell Museum's grounds, I said, why don't they come out and go through the museum? I mean, this is attractive for people that want to come to this area. People are already in this area to learn something about the region, to learn something about our facilities down here, and just enjoy themselves, outside of fishing. People who don't even fish at all. And this year what we're going to do, we're going to have fly tying demonstration and fly casting lessons given by the local chapter of the Fly Fishing International chapter of Oil City, which I'm a part of, and they'll be doing it for free over at the museum's multi-purpose room.
Wow. Now, it's also an opportunity, right, to bring their families, which is great because they can be doing activities while, their significant others are fishing. But again, it's designed to bring in visitors to our region.
It is. And, that's how a community day was started, because back, maybe 6-7 years ago, and that's when I had the pro anglers up here, a gentleman brought his wife and his little girl, and they were watching them fish and stuff like that. And I'm like, and one time she said, "Oh, Dad, that's a nice fish you just caught." And that year I went home. I said, "Wait a minute. I understand supporting somebody." I said, "But there's just more things to do around here than to watch your dad or your significant other fish." And then that's when the idea of community day, having some game, fun and games for kids that you can go out and get your face painted and stuff like that. That's where the idea was born. And just a little bit later on, we incorporated the train and Drakewell Museum. But that young lady, and I can't remember her first name. She was the one that inspired me, because I said I can do better, and we need to do better. So that's what really made us go forward in a different direction.
Well, before we wrap up, you can go to the Facebook page. Just search Oil Creek Classic.
Yes.
Again, you can go to the website, which is occ.titusvilleparotary.org, and you can see all the information there for this year's Oil Creek Classic. So a couple places to go. There's great pictures posted on both sites. You can see how much fun everybody's having, and really looking forward to it. And I think, let's hope, Al, some nice weather that weekend.
Can I make one more point before
Absolutely.
we leave? This year we're going to have some guests from Project Healing Waters. That's the organization that takes out disabled veterans and teach how to heal through fly fishing. I'm very excited about this, and because we're having some up here, of course that's more people. But also too, I like to make a appeal to those fly anglers out there, or people that know the creek, to volunteer as what we call controllers. Because it's going to be a big weekend. It shows our community in a very, very positive light. And some of these veterans are coming from as far away as Pittsburgh this particular year, but some, maybe next year somebody might come from, say, Montana or California. So when they go back, not only I want them to talk about the creek and fishing and the trout, which is always good, but also about the people in the hospitality that we showed them. So I know that we can't do it alone. I know there's some people that know that creek a lot better than I do, and if they want to volunteer, please let us know.
Al, good to see you. Thanks for your time. All the best.
Thank you.
Tales round the campfire, fish brought to heal,